Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Liverpool Latest. Good to be with you once again. My name is Matt. Let's get right to it, shall we? I think it's safe to say that after a couple of days now, the loss is starting to settle in the way it has. We know where we fucked up as a team. That said, there were some quotes here from Arne Slot that I wanted to touch on personally and some of it I have touched on, but I kind of want to talk about a little bit more in depth if I can. Uh, let's get right into it. He said, and this is his quote: They were better in every aspect of football. That being Man City. They dominated possession. They beat us in the duels. Tactically, they were just better. Everything I am saying paraphrased, but everything that we all could have come to a conclusion with watching the match already. That said, there's a couple other things he talks about as the conversation goes on and the presser goes on. He said the players were very disappointed and that it wasn't necessarily a lack of effort on their end as it was a tactical mishap, I guess, on his. And I'm not really sure about that. I think that kind of goes two ways. I think the fact that his tactics did not allow them to press the way they would have liked to. They had some decent chances. Some. The only difference is that City had a lot more. And that's the problem I think a lot of us are having with this whole ordeal. Also touches on, obviously, the call on Andy Robertson, the offside call. Goes on to say, for me, it was not clear and obvious that it was the wrong decision that this goal was not allowed. However, proceeds to say, even at 1-1, being that if Virgil's goal was upheld, if City played like they had, or like they did, or I guess if they continued to play like they were, we would have struggled regardless. So, at the end of the day, I kind of just want to put the whole thing with the goal to bed. I talked about this in the last video. You can't blame one bad ref call for the entire from a very poor game plan. Like, you can't blame the ref call whether we agree with it or not. I'm still in the mindset that I don't agree with it. But you also can't bitch and moan about it and still play like shit because your game plan is terrible. Okay? I mean, and I've talked about this before. All they had to do was just load up the midfield. And they didn't do that. All they had to do was put a 4-3-3 in place, in my opinion. And for some reason, they did not do that. And I don't know why. And clearly, it worked for City because we had trouble getting through their midfield and, of course, getting through their defense as a result of that. And their strikers were absolutely having their way with us, specifically Doku. So I don't think I need to stress on this too much more. I just wanted to read those quotes because clearly Slot is saying what we're already thinking to begin with, but it seems as though that nothing is being done about it from my point of view to change these problems, because these are not just problems that happened in the City match. These are problems that have been happening for weeks, even when we were on that little nice positive upswing. So, and even in Slot's words, he says it's easy to win duels when your tactics are working. Well, they were not working. Okay? They were not working, and clearly this is the result that we are at. And no amount of transfers or new players will be able to fix that. Hence where I get into this little number that came across my feed. Yankuba Minte, a potential Salah successor. I use those words loosely. 21 years old, currently in Brighton and Hove Albion, and he's been doing very well this year. He's got 4 goal involvements in 11 Premier League matches. He's been one of Brighton's most dangerous attackers this season, according to the ESPN article that I was reading. It seems as though Liverpool is eyeing and plotting a move to pick him up and potentially set him up as the next Mohamed Salah. They see him as a natural long-term replacement for Salah, whose contract is running out not this year, but next year in the final 18 months, but enters its final 18 months in January. Uh, Funny enough, and I didn't know this, Minte previously played under Arne Slot at Feyenoord, where he impressed with his pace, directness, and pressing ability, and it traits Slot's values highly. Again, ESPN's words. Let's see how much it's going to cost us. All right, we've already spent millions of dollars and it hasn't helped us. So what's another couple of million going to do, right? Minte joined Brighton from Newcastle in the summer of 2025 for around 30 million, and now he is his current value could exceed $60 million. And of course, Liverpool scouts are trying to take him on. This could be a good thing and a bad thing. I am unfamiliar with Minte, to be quite honest with you. I don't follow Brighton all that much. That said, it seems as though he's a very impressive player. And I will never put that on, I will never not say that about somebody when I see the numbers and if I happen to see highlights of them. I think that's good that they're trying to now think about the future in regards to when Salah eventually leaves, because I'll be honest, as much as I love Salah, I do see this being his last contract with Liverpool. I don't see how he would want to stay, at least not right now anyway. But I also don't see how the club would want to keep him, because it's only going to cost him more to keep him, and he's getting older, as much as I hate to say it. So is he going to be able to create the same amount of quality he has in seasons past? Clearly, it's been a struggle so far. Granted, some other outlying factors have played a role in that, but nonetheless, here is the problem that we are facing now as I move into the next section of this. While we could be picking up Minte, it could also mean we lose out on Dominic Szoboszlai, who has been, bar none, our best player this season. There is no debate about that. There's a reason why, with these contract talks that I've been seeing with him, people are touting him to be the next Liverpool captain when that time eventually comes for him to hopefully sign a new contract. And of course, you won't believe who's actually looking into him, who are interested once his current contract is up. Oh, look at that. It's Real Madrid and Manchester City, two of our most hated rivals. Salt in the wound, that would be. I tell you that much. It says that both clubs are closely monitoring the Liverpool situation. But granted, we still have him for a couple more years. I mean, the contract is up in 2028, and we'll have to see where a new improved deal comes from. Of course, I've been talking about it all week. There was a whole thing that he might be signing a contract for £200,000 a week. I don't know what that amounts to as far as how many years they're going to add to his contract, but that's a fuck ton of money, all right? £200,000 is, most people don't even make that in a year. This guy is making it in a week to play football a couple of times a week. And it's insane, really. The problem I have with this, if it doesn't go through, the Szoboszlai deal, obviously he's being seen as the future of the club. And for good reason. He's been our best player all season, I've been saying. So losing him, I think, not only weakens the midfield, weakens the defense a little bit, because he has played some right back where Trent used to. And I think it even weakens our striking to some extent, because that boy could shoot. That boy could score from distances I have not seen in quite some time. So I can understand where I think we should focus on Szoboszlai. Like, I like the idea of signing Minte, given everything that he's doing at Brighton, but I think our main focus right now, and should continue to be, is signing Szoboszlai, and in addition to that, because they signed the contract at the same time, Gravenberch too. Those are two guys that I need them to sign before they think about any striker that could be coming up on the market in the next year or so. Granted, you know, in a perfect world, we get everything we want, obviously. I don't think this is going to be one of those times. We had our perfect world with the transfer window minus the Mark Gahey situation, and clearly that did not that has not worked out in our favor like we would have wanted it to. Just like how, to the opinion of many fans, Florian Wirtz has not worked out for a lot of us, despite how much money we have paid him. But Germany head coach from the national team, which Wirtz will actually be playing for in the international break, Julian Nagelsmann. He talked about him a little bit and some of the struggles he's been having. Of course, the fact that Liverpool is having instability, he notes that that situation is not easy for him either. You know, it's not as stable as it was last year, which I think any of us could agree with, given the fact that we've had so many drastic changes in such a short amount of time, losing out on two strikers that we needed to send them away, they needed to leave, but we also didn't properly replace them. Same thing with our keepers, our backup keeper, and as well as other players on the defensive end. You know, Frimpong's still hurt, and Leone is out for the season. And Isak hopefully will be coming back soon, but is he going to make the impact we want him to make? So all of this, and of course Kirkez is his own issue, but Wirtz is someone that shows promise one day and inconsistency the next. I guess given the situation going on at Liverpool, that there's no, like, most of the time there's no set place for him yet. I think it's kind of struggling with him a little bit. You know, obviously it's perfectly normal for a player to go to a different team and have a adaptation period where he's trying to figure out his place. And I think people sometimes have too high of expectation for him because of how much money we spent to get him. But I feel like it's also not fair. I don't know. Like, I see both sides of the argument, and I hate to be the cop-out guy and be like, oh, I see both sides. But I really do see both sides of the argument. Fans are expecting a certain kind of product that we thought we were paying for, and Wirtz is kind of in a little bit of limbo right now. One day he's starting, one day he's not. Next day he could be subbing on that same time. So it's inconsistency. And when he is on the pitch, whether he's starting or not, it could be the best game you've ever seen a midfielder play, or it could be the absolute worst. And right now, it's kind of a mixture of both, more so being on the bad end of things right now after that City loss. So Nagelsmann stressed that the need for support from both Liverpool teammates and fans for Florian Wirtz. He quotes, "We all need to support him a little bit so that he can clear his head." And I do see that argument. And I've talked about this before. I know players read stuff online. Virgil has talked about it quite a bit the last couple of weeks, especially when we were in that really rough period. And it's a matter of blocking out the noise. That said, when you're someone as young as Wirtz, I think the opinion of people is a little bit more important to you than someone who's older and more seasoned. And it's a struggle. And I can see that. So I want Wirtz to do well. I'm not saying this that I don't want him to do well. I want him to do great. I believe Nagelsmann when he says this. He coaches the kid for the national team, the German national team. But I also don't think that we're doing ourselves any favors with how we play him and how we react when he does play, trying to give it his all every time. So he also delivered this pointed remark. Maybe Liverpool can help him out by scoring some of the chances he creates. They somehow don't like to shoot the ball in. That's also a part of the truth. Damn, tell me how you really feel, buddy. I, that's the most biased thing I've seen in this entire conversation that we've had. I mean, maybe if they would actually try and score on the chances he's creating, maybe you look at him in a certain different way. I mean, if that's not bias, I don't know what is. But at the same time, I don't necessarily disagree with it because it's the same thing. I mean, midfielders help set strikers up for shots. Whether anybody wants to agree with that or not, any player can set up anybody for a shot. But I feel like midfielders, in addition to moving the ball up and blocking strikers from getting past into the defense, I believe that if you're offensively inclined, you should be helping create chances. And clearly, Wirtz is trying to do that, and it's not working out in his favor sometimes. And like I said, tell me, Nagelsmann, tell me how you really feel, bro. But hopefully, Wirtz finds the chemistry he's looking for with his teammates, as well as, by himself on the pitch. Adjustment periods are hard. Change is hard. Look at me. Me personally, I moved from one state all the way up in New Jersey to this state in South Carolina. Now, it's a different change. I get that. But it still requires an adjustment period from something you've known your entire life or most of your life. And now you have to change almost your entire way of doing things because of where you are. And that's my personal way I'm looking at it. So I do sympathize with the whole give him time thing, but some fans are going to be like, how much time does he really need? We paid him $100 million or whatever. So again, I see both arguments. I agree with them in different respects, but I am not going to be here to engage in that toxicity. That's all I will say. Thank you guys so much for checking me out on this edition of Liverpool Latest. I appreciate you very much. And always remember, even though our team sucks, you'll never walk alone.